Okay, so this week...
Comics!
I try to bring up comics that I really, really like, because I want to sort of spread the love and the attention and get people to buy things that they might not have heard of otherwise. So naturally I'm starting with Secret Wars.
I didn't read it yet, though.
Secret Wars! Tell me all about it!
Okay, so
I don't have to read it.
I actually, during the God of Comics Twitter feed from Living Myth Magazine, went on a rant today about how much I despise the crossover events, and we'll be doing that again tomorrow in the review, because this is what crashed Marvel the first time. This actually, like, the entire thing where they don't have the rights to some of their characters film-wise is because they were doing 4 to 5 major crossovers a year with a bunch of, like, side ones, and they're doing that same thing now. And this time, they're canceling everything to do this, and it's all tied into a bunch of mistakes that a writer named Jonathan Hickman has made. And Hickman's actually said, yeah, this is a good jumping off point.
Wait, what?
I'm serious. Like, Hickman's quotes are amazing. So,
Why would you
my
do
problem with Hickman is not that he's a bad idea man. His ideas are great. It's eventually they just kind of fall apart and go off character and off theme, which is what I was blathering about earlier. So the first issue of Secret Wars was abysmal and one of my least favorite things ever.
I had an okay time with it.
This is fun. This is great. If this was like a what if, I would be all over this. If this was like a brand new IP that they were going to develop and run with, it would be awesome. It's
I haven't read it yet.
It's Warhammer 40k as done by Marvel with Doom as the God Emperor of Man.
What?
What?
It's Warhammer 40k.
Oh, yeah.
With Doom as the God Emperor of Man, and instead of Space Marines, they have Thors, plural.
What?
So there's an army of them with the hammers.
Oh, there is a comic calling out Thors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thors.
So it's ridiculous. And, you know, various different Marvel characters have gotten their own little nations, and they've set up, like, this intricate Game of Thrones-esque political system, and it looks really, really interesting. And, again, I would love to read it on its own. So if it were, like, its own little self-contained thing, I would be raving about how cool an idea this is. But it's not. It's invaded everything. It's like this weird, infectious cancer that's gotten in and just destroyed... Like, you'll be talking about Thor shortly, and I mean, I'd be blathering about Loki if Loki were out today, but none of those stories apply anymore. Magneto had, like, a really, really good story, but, like, everything that Cullen Bunn has, like, very carefully crafted, story-wise, is now tossed out for that. And I'm just... Gah.
But you might get more in Secret Wars in the actual story, in the spin-off titles of everything.
And just...
All right.
I speak as somebody who really, really...
Aaron, what else you got?
What else you got,
Before you
Aaron?
get too mad.
Okay.
Quick rundown, what else you got?
Angela, Asgard's assassin, Kieran
Beautiful
Gillen,
artwork.
and Evil Marguerite, and you should be reading this because it's great.
Ready
They
for the
introduced, like, a
graphic
whole new thing into the Marvel Universe with Angela and the idea of heaven and where the angels have gone, and where they've been, and where they've gotten to. And they've done an incredible job building up a mythology and a history and talking about who these characters are and how they interact and why they matter. And in 6 issues, I care more about what's going on here than in anything going on in the Avengers or Secret Wars. It's been phenomenal. The artwork is gorgeous, the writing is spot on, the characters are interesting, they've set up, like, an incredibly detailed economic system based on the idea of favors, so you have heaven trading and bargaining with people as opposed to the forces of hell. And then they've tied with the angelic afterlife and where that goes and just how evil the Asgardian nobility can be, how cruel they can be when they feel that they've been wronged. It's great. Speaking of evil, Coffin Hill. If you are not reading this, this is the best horror comic being published today. It is an incredibly detailed and nuanced little thing that talks about a family under a 400-year-old blood curse that was started off by one of their founding members, and they're tied to this horrible little town called Coffin Hill. And they can't escape this curse. They cannot escape this curse. It claims all of them. It drives them to madness, it drives them to suicide, and it's been started by, actually, their family matriarch from 400 years ago. It's really, really cool.
Aaron's gonna make me go broke.
I'm happy to do that to you.
He's reminding me
You
things.
really, really need to read this. It's so cool and so well written and so well drawn. I just really, really like this comic. Clearly. We all talked about how much we despised the first issue of this.
Yeah, we weren't crazy
With good
about it.
reason. You know, it's got really, really beautiful cover art, and the
The
interior
interior
art is very
It's really
Aeon
nice,
Fluxish.
Yeah.
This is better.
It was a
Better.
little bit better.
Not good,
I feel
but better.
I feel like if they had taken the time to give some sort of a backstory, I would care a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like I was reading it and I'm just like, I am so confused as to what's going on here because like it was suddenly in space and it was flashback, but I didn't know it was a flashback. I'm just like, did I miss an issue somewhere?
It's kind of hard when they're on issue 2.
I know,
Of 8.
so I was
Sort of put
very
it out there.
confused and
Yeah,
yeah.
it's better, but it's... Have you read Snow Crash?
No.
It's a discussion for another time.
Actually, no, because it ties directly into this.
All right, that's
Snow
fine.
Crash, the first Snow Crash is one of my favorite books. It's incredible, really, really cool story with a main character named Hero Protagonist, which automatically makes it
Yeah.
one of the best
Okay.
books ever written.
That's pretty good.
But it starts
Straightforward.
off on this completely frenetic pace where it does not bother to explain anything that is going on. It felt like RunLoveKill tried to do that in the first issue and didn't do it nearly as well as Snow Crash did.
Yeah.
The second issue, it feels like they're trying to give some depth to what happened in the first issue retrospectively, but it's not working nearly as well as I think that they would like it to. It's still
No.
really pretty, but if you're buying it for the art, do so. But story-wise, I'm kind of on the fence on it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like at least the third issue before we get enough of a backstory that the story will start to make sense. Because I feel right now, like I'm getting a better idea of who Rain is and what happened to her in the past, but it's still not enough that
You care.
I care or that the story makes enough sense.
Yeah.
So,
I'm running with you on that one. The last comic I'm going to talk about is from Valiant. It's called Imperium.
Aaron likes his Valiant.
I really like Valiant. I really like Valiant because they do qualitative storytelling. By that I mean, you know how everybody talks about mature storytelling? And inevitably when they talk about mature storytelling, it basically means there's going to be nudity and violence.
Frank Miller and Matt Fraction. Yeah!
Yeah. So this comic deals with the idea of post-scarcity economics in a superhero world.
That sounds like real adult world stuff.
It kind of is. Imperium is combine Magneto and Charles Xavier, like power-wise. You've got a guy who is so powerful he may as well be God.
Okay.
And he has been working in secret to better mankind as a whole. Not just like superpowered people, but everybody. Everybody is going to be
Yeah,
okay.
so
You don't just want to kill anybody to do
nobody
it.
looks like him.
He does. Raphael Albuquerque definitely made him look like Rachel
Yeah.
Gould.
He's
Because that's how it's pronounced.
you get really, really good
Yeah.
art and really interesting concepts and a lot of really, really fun stuff and incredibly detailed characters. Because this guy is willing to do anything. Anything at all. He's like the best person on the planet,
Tony
but he
Stark one.
realizes that, well, no, it's not a Starkism, because Stark
I know,
is
I was just like...
Actually, never mind.
going
He
on a
actually
tangent.
really,
But he does look like Tony Stark.
But I was like, Yeah. I like how Tony created the problem and the solution.
Yeah. Well, that's Tony in a nutshell. No, but everybody sort of makes fun of Cap for the language thing.
Yeah, I love it.
And nobody bothers Tony for creating the problem that they fight, which is what the Avengers do
Yeah.
in the comics these days. This is just
Imperium.
really, really cool. You've got this guy who's basically trying to save the world, and then the forces that are arrayed to stop him. So the forces of the status quo and the idea of just corporate equity and how that works, but told through super heroic eyes. So there's all kinds of really neat stuff going on here. Tied into how Valiant really takes care with their characterization and their storytelling. So there's just a lot of really neat stuff. And the artwork is really cool.
Pretty good.
Like, I just feel comfortable opening it up to any page and throwing that out there, because they do a lot of really cool stuff.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
it's really nice.
So, cannot recommend this enough. Imperium is awesome.
It's a really nice cover.
Yeah.
Raphael Albuquerque.
They all tend.
They
to
let
be.
him have a cover out. They let this cover come out.
And tying it back to Secret Wars, when Valiant does a crossover event, they put it in its own little book, and then once that book ends, everything past it acknowledges what happened in that book, so you don't have to read 15 gazillion comics to keep
It's
track
like
of.
almost what they do in Forever Evil, but then they're just like, didn't even.
But Aaron, how are they supposed to rip people off if they only?
Well, they do
it-
multiple covers.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, yeah.
Then that's fine.
It's 10 minutes.
Cool. So it's my turn.
Yeah.
My turn to talk about. I picked up all the popular indie books pretty much today. They kind of are as far as
Hey,
indie books go.
we're supposed
You're
to be the-
missing something.
No, I didn't buy that one. That's a new one.
Man,
I was going to talk about Injection
Oh,
because
okay.
that's the really big one that
Okay.
came out this week.
It's great, by the by.
His opinion, not mine.
Mantle.
So,
Thank you, sir.
so what did I actually pick up? I picked up Saga because everybody likes Saga. It was kind of cool. Little plot progression. I don't have a lot to say about it because
Sorry.
Saga hasn't been really doing it for me since the time skip. But I
Yeah.
still like it a lot.
Yeah, I felt the same when the time skip happened. It's just kind of lost its appeal.
Yeah, I
I mean,
missed the
it's-
Will. I missed the Will because the Will was the best part. He was
love
the
the
most
Will.
fun, and we'll probably get him back. My guess is probably by the end of this arc,
Hopefully.
hopefully. But it's Saga, so you never know.
Yeah.
I also picked up Black Science.
I keep meaning to get into that. What is Black Science?
Black Science is like, I should be able to explain it. It's just like I've read 14 issues of this so far. So pretty much yeah, it's like space adventure, but it's like dimensions. It's a multiverse, but done correctly.
Okay, well, that's
I don't know. It's like
Sticking it to Marvel.
it's traveling through. Yeah, it's done. Not destroying everything. Yeah, pretty much it's like a team of scientists that are looking to save the world by getting technology from other places, and all gets fucked up, and it's like personal drama and no.
Sorry.
Is there...
And then it's like, yeah, this is a guy, and he does some stuff, and people get mad at him and things, and it's kind of some fun sci-fi.
I'll probably pick up the graphic novel.
Yeah, check out the first two trades are out.
Woo!
This is the third arc. It's alright so far. And I have a really small week for me. I also picked up Chrononauts, which has really, really pretty artwork.
I love the cover on this one.
That's the main appeal, especially this issue. There's not a lot of plot going on. I mean, it's a lot. It's like a car chase. It's a car chase through time, pretty much. This whole issue, which again looks pretty, but in terms of like anything actually happening, sorry, Jen, you haven't read this yet.
Not yet, but that's
Ruin
okay.
it for
it's
you.
fine.
And yeah, it was kind of. I like the first two issues well enough, but this one didn't really do it for me.
Which is
Have
weird
you read-
because it's only 4 issues.
Yeah, but the fourth issue is like a double size. Like
Oh,
we
is it?
could have done 5.
Was there anything else you want to say today?
Injection was cool. The artwork was pretty.
Yeah.
That's about it. They sold out
We
here.
sold out.
So
That's how good it was.
Yeah,
this-
it's great.
People have been
shelves.
hyping this for a while because of Moon Knight, and I was kind of interested, so I checked it out. It's definitely the good old first issue of an Image book where it's pure setup, and the cliffhanger is what supposed to make you bring back, while the actual quality of the whole first issue was kind of like, this is a thing, and the artwork was pretty.
There's a lot of depth going on, a lot of underpinnings, and a lot of stuff that's going to be explained later. Like it's a lot of
definitely.
setup.
It is definitely, if anything, it is probably a really good trade waiter. But-
Like what this tried to do, like making the first issue much better retroactively, is what Injection is going to do.
Awesome. Yeah, that's about all I have to say on comics this week. Reva's turn.
What did you call me? Reva?
Reva. I'm calling you
Like
Reva.
Reaver, but
Reaver!
No! No! Okay.
Sorry,
So
Reva.
I picked up number 6
That's
of
such a
Convergence,
shame.
and Peter actually colored this one, so I'm excited.
Yay.
Thor! So good. So sad. Lantern City. And, of course, 4 points! I love you, Jordan! You do awesome artwork!
what is 4 points?
4 Points is a new Aspen Comics title, and it combines the 4 elements in a way. There's 4 different races on the Earth, and they basically, that's what it's basically sum up. They just, the first 2 issues was, setting up the team and meeting the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, they meet the bad guy, and they convince Aspen to join the team. I feel like I don't know if I feel like they wrote Aspen the way that I remember her quite as much because I don't know. She's just always so reluctant to help that I feel like that's kind of silly because she's helped the universe so much that she'd just be like, oh, another bad guy. All right, let's go do this. Like that's what I would feel like she'd probably be at this point because it's just like, yeah, oh, Tuesday again, gonna save the world. Cool, yeah. I was other than that, Jordan Gunnarsson is one of my favorite people in the universe.
Oh, God, the artwork is really gorgeous.
Yeah, like I want to buy all his pages. He is probably one of like.
It's just colors in that are like.
The colors. Yes. Josh Reed is a letterer. He's the letterer for everything from Aspen except for Zoo Hunters. It's written by Scott Lobdell. Lobdell.
I know.
Yeah.
And that's the only issue I have with this series so far is that the writing is extremely weak. I do not like the writing.
The artwork is phenomenal. Jordan is awesome.
Kind of reminds me of Tyler Kirkham a bit.
Yeah, he just keeps getting better and better every time he writes, and like every time he starts something new. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it's really cool. Like I can't say anything bad about this.
Except for the writing.
Also, I started reading Lantern City. I've read almost all my comics, but it's a lot to read. I really feel like they did a really great setup in the first couple pages I read, and I feel for the characters, and I get what's going on and everything. It's pretty freaking awesome. Thor. Spoilers. I love the battle. Like, having all of the most powerful women in Marvel. Like, this is what I wish Swords of Sorrow was. Like, because they have a really good cast in Swords of Sorrow, but it doesn't deliver for me quite yet. But like Scarlet Witch is one of my favorites, and she's in here. The All Mother, she's just fucking gives it to them. Like she's just like, oh, screw you.
If you want to see the All Mother being like really, really badass, check out Angela.
Yeah.
Because oh my God, what the All Mother does.
She's just stabbing this guy in the head. She tells her husband, the All Father, she doesn't give a damn. She's like, she gets back to Asgard, and they're like, the All Father wants to be in peace, and she's like, well, he can have as much peace as he wants. Like, it was so good. And I haven't read Convergence yet.
That's okay.
I'm gonna collect them all. I'm gonna do a special episode just about Convergence.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I have to apologize, Convergence, because I actually really enjoyed Nightwing and Oracle.
Which was great.
It was actually
it was great.
Everything I wanted Convergence to be. Like
that
spoilers. Nightwing and Oracle, like, and Black Canary is in it. They are defending their planet against Hawkeye and Hawkwoman. Their city of their timeline. And they managed to defeat them, and they are like, we're not going to kill you. You can just come join us. Just never try and revolt. That's exactly what I want from this. Like, I just assumed, like obviously there's not enough room in every city for everyone to survive, but, like, they're heroes.
They should be coming up with solutions to beat things.
Yeah, like, you're heroes, you don't kill people. Like, there's obviously some bad guys in different universes.
Crash, we're going to bang toys together until things break.
Yeah.
The main Earth's not in on it, and also... It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything is in on it. It's every world
so
forever.
the New 52 is in on it? Okay. I thought they were leaving New 52 out, in which case...
Also, if you dug Nightwing with Oracle, check out Question.
Okay.
The same kind of quality of writing, and it was really freaking good.
Well, can I say then, if based on future solicitations, then that is a lie, because then there are two worlds that survive. Because Prime...
Oh, all the worlds are going to survive. They're setting up a thing now where they're breaking their own premise.
Multiversity!
Yeah.
Which actually, that was a pretty good finale.
So, Jenna,
what you got for us?
Well, I picked up 4 points as well. And Lantern City. And I also picked up Chrononauts, which I haven't gotten a chance to read yet.
I spoiled it all for Jenna, but not really.
Not really. No, you were vague, so I don't know what happens other than there might be a car chase.
There's cars and there's chasing.
If you want to see a really good time chase, check out Ivar Time Walker.
That's Valiant.
Yes, it is.
Yes, I know of it. The one that I am super excited for this week is the Mantle.
Yay!
Because
I'm the only one who didn't read it.
it
You need
is
to.
freaking amazing. Like,
Fired.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm not fired.
I'm just kidding.
Who's gonna talk about the Batman stuff?
So essentially, the
When he comes
Mantle
back.
is it's like a superpower that is transferred every time the
The person
person
holds it
wielding
dies.
the mantle dies. And at the beginning of this issue, there is a guy who receives the power of the mantle, and you're kind of, explained what the mantle is and how the power is passed on. And there is a villain called the Plague that goes around, and his sole purpose is to kill the mantles. And it's a superhero story that will just blow you away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Art-
really freaking good.
Yeah, the
I
art
did-
in
I
it
did
is
need to read
fantastic.
it
Brian
before you guys
Level
got here.
does the line art, and Jordan Boyd does the coloring. And it's just...
The coloring is gorgeous.
It's amazing. I don't want to spoil things for later on, but this comic just...
It's
Yeah.
pretty badass.
It really
Ed
is.
Brisson really sort of came into his own, I think, with Sheltered. Like really matured as a writer, particularly towards the end of Sheltered. And this is keeping up with the quality of the latter one of that.
I didn't realize, but I actually have the first graphic novel for Sheltered. I was going through I was organizing my comics after I got
my hour of
six,
free time. I thought about picking
and
that up.
I
I'm
was like, oh, I
You
have
should read
Sheltered.
that.
I should.
It's really good.
Where are you going?
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed myself this issue.
You're just like sliding
under.
underneath the table.
Just calling in the videos.
It's gonna be okay.
It's okay. Are you sad?
Yes, I am. But for
You
other
don't have to
reasons,
be.
we already
One day
talked
you
about that.
might
We're
get
not
the
talking
mantle,
about that
and
on
then
camera.
We could advertise free dates with
No
with
thanks. I'm good.
He likes comic books and Batman.
Yeah.
He's a very handsome young man.
He's very
He has a
adorable.
car.
He has the patronus
have
of
a
a
car.
puppy.
Works
Yes.
at places.
I works places.
He has pizza.
He's intelligent and witty and kind.
He's almost like a Ninja Turtle because he's got pizza.
Aaron's known me for like 3 weeks, and evidently he infers my whole personality.
I do that.
And that's fine.
Anyways.
I'll actually sit and be normal.
Instead of embarrassing Nathan.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry.
Well,
Comics?
Yeah,
Mantle.
the Mantle.
Yeah.
I recommend it for anyone that likes
Pick it up.
superhero comics and characters that have depth to them. And I also really recommend it to female readers.
There's some
Yes.
really interesting
any
stuff
spoilers.
going on in that, particularly with the Plague, because we don't know what his whole motivation is yet.
Yeah.
He's
He
just
ver-
like, basically, that's his...
He just shows up and he
'Cause-
fights and...
Well, he doesn't. It's not that he just fights, because the Mantle gets rescued by another team of superheroes. Or we assume that they're superheroes because the civilians don't know anything about them and don't know anything that there are superheroes or super-powered beings in this world. So they take the new Mantle away and they're trying to train him, and then the Plague shows up. And they've already built up the Plague as being like this unstoppable badass. But the Plague goes out of his way not to hurt the other heroes. Like, doesn't want to fight them at all.
Okay,
And-
spend more money when I leave today.
You absolutely do. You're going to need to buy the Mantle. So
Everyone needs to buy them.
they really do.
Okay,
Even
then I have
Obama.
one. Then I have
Obama!
a really good question. Then Jenna, which cover should I buy?
You know, you
They're
should
both
really.
cool.
I'd go with the Mantle cover, like the classic
Main
pink
one?
one.
Yeah.
But really, you could buy both of them.
I don't have money for that.
You-
It's
you
nonsense
totally do.
talk.
You
I
should be
don't.
buying the 4 points.
You know what, guys?
You know, Imperium. Imperium is.
I already had to pay for Saga and Chrononauts and Black Science and Injection.
and Imperium and Angela and Coffin Hill.
I'm waiting for a graphic novel for Angela because...
But what about? But Aaron, I need
I
to
really
buy
like the
Secret
first one.
Wars, right?
Yes.
That's the one thing I have to buy this
No,
week, right?
If you have to buy one thing, it's a Mantle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. So we
All
good?
right, guys. I think we're good. We'll say bye. Comment, click, and
Like,
Like,
share,
comment, share.
subscribe, do whatever, tell your friends.
like the Facebook page and follow
Come to
the
Big
Twitter.
Pete's.
I'm on the Instagram.
Come to Big Pete's.
Yeah,
Let us
Big
hang out
Pete's.
again here.
Yeah, I
Look
know.
at all of
It's
these
like,
board games
what-
behind
Yeah,
us.
it's all Catan.
It's almost 9:30, guys.
Well,
There you go. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.